Welcome to r/pro revenge, where OP gets revenge against his employer to the tune of $10 million. Our next Reddit post is from the Tubi. I started working at a logistics company that builds things. This was just as COVID was starting, actually. When we started, we had 5 people in the team, but one of the guys quit soon after. This is important because it gave me very good insight into how my department operates if they don't need or want someone around. They won't outright fire you since they have to pay you a severance, but instead, they'll bully you into quitting. I saw pretty much the whole package, excluding the person from meetings and important events, shaming them in public and lecturing them, never noticing the good work they did, but always making sure that everyone knows about work that was done poorly, drowning someone in work, and then berating them when they inevitably can't keep up. It was outright childish at times. I didn't register it at the time, but this was a really important lesson for later. I was put in charge of managing our overseas suppliers, among other things. About half of our material came from overseas, most of that from China. While it seems like this is a big task for someone new, it wasn't done out of malice. Everyone genuinely believed that we were going to get a guy in China for the Chinese supplies, and I'd be left to handle the other supplies. It seemed fair. But we never got that extra coworker for China, and I was left with all the overseas suppliers. Another important thing to note is that just in this project, the company decided to change the workflow for overseas supplier. This is because, due to COVID, the price of shipping containers had exploded. Let me explain it as quickly as possible. Previously, the suppliers were responsible for filling our containers and bringing them to the harbor. We were responsible for picking them up from the harbor and bringing them to us. However, due to demands and various other factors, sometimes we just needed 2 or 3 pallets of parts where a dozen or so more could fit inside a container, so we were shipping a lot of empty air. The new workflow would have the suppliers bring the parts to an external warehouse, one in the US and one in China. Then we would load everything into containers and get the containers as full as possible, and then bring them to harbor. This way, we needed to rent far fewer containers. This complicated things because we added an extra step, the warehouse. Also, there was now no official method for how we were going to keep in contact with our suppliers, tell them how many parts we needed, how to package them, if there were any change requests, etc. During that time, I was left mostly alone to deal with it, and I set up a system with Excel. It was mostly manual and rather simple, but it worked well. It worked so well, in fact, that one of the suits even chatted with me about it for a bit since he wanted to make it standard in future projects. And also, this part is very important, I was the only person who actually knew all of our overseas suppliers and their contacts. Some of you might be able to tell where this story is going already. So, during that entire time, nobody had actually bothered to ask me to explain to them how my system worked and where I keep track of all the supplier contracts. All of this data was hidden on like slide 800 of some Excel file that I had saved in a folder titled Parts Pictures, which was otherwise filled with pictures of parts. Now, as COVID began dying down, the department, for whatever reason, decided they didn't need me anymore. I pretty much saw precisely the same thing go down that I had seen with the other guy who left shortly after I started. All the bullying. At first, I thought to myself that if I pull through and keep doing a good job, they would eventually cool down, but they didn't. After 2 months of this, I said screw it and decided to just endure it until the Christmas bonus that we get every year, and then handed my notice. Also, I delayed teaching anyone how my system worked until I was gone. And that's pretty much how it happened, and I started working a new job. A month into working at my new job, I got a call from my old job. It was my old department manager. To his credit, he was always a reasonable guy. He told me in plain words that he had no idea where to even begin with the Chinese suppliers. He then offered me my old job back with a very respectable pay increase. I explained that I already had a new job. 2 days later, I got another call where the same manager offered me many times my monthly salary just to come in for 1 week and instruct my old team in how my process functioned, and introduce them to all the contacts, etc. I told him I refused because of the way I'd been treated by them when I worked there. He said that he understood. He wished me luck at my new job and hung up. Well, recently, I got in touch with some of my old coworkers. They mentioned that in the 10 months since I left, the logistics department racked up 8-figure losses due to wrong deliveries, over and under deliveries, outdated parts, suppliers canceling their contracts, and new suppliers needing to be sourced. And all the blame for that fell on my old team. 8-figure losses, so that's anywhere between $10 million and $99 million. Ooh, that's gotta sting. It makes you wonder how much the company was trying to avoid paying OP for the severance package. You think it was 8 figures? Because my guess is that they were much better off just giving OP the severance package instead of screwing themselves over like this. Our next Reddit post is from Crazy Mastiff. I'm a 42-year-old woman, and I effed up big time. 2 weeks ago, on a random Thursday morning at like 1 a.m., someone started shooting off fireworks in my neighborhood. I've been having bouts of insomnia, and I was finally able to get to sleep, and I had to wake up at 4 a.m. for a meeting 2 hours away that I had to be at for 8 a.m. I was pissed, and so were my dogs. I love fireworks, but I think there's a time and a place. Thursday morning at 1 a.m. is not it. I posted to a neighborhood Facebook group a few hours later during a coffee break about people who set off the fireworks at 1 a.m. during the middle of the week. After I make a long drive home, I check my Facebook. Some guy commented that I can't sleep because I'm a fat pig. Now, I'm chubby, but I'm not sloppy fat. Plus, I just lost the equivalent of a fully grown male wombat or 54 North American gray squirrels, so I feel effing awesome about myself. And this is where I may have really effed up. I responded to the guy, who was maybe in his late 30s to early 40s. I wrote, "Listen, dude, I'm sorry I had to end things, but I just didn't have the same feelings as you. What you're saying now is just hurtful and mean. Please stop sending me messages and commenting on my Facebook post. It's just a pathetic way to contact me. I told you a dozen times already. We're done. It's over." The following day, I had to get to the airport early for an out-of-country vacation, so I didn't check my Facebook during all the craziness. Honestly, I couldn't check my Facebook even if I wanted. I was on a cruise ship, and I am not paying $25 a day for internet, and the country we visited didn't really have the greatest Wi-Fi. Besides, I was having a blast leaving the chaos of the world behind me. I signed back into my Facebook on Monday, and oh no. Apparently, people took my post seriously and told his wife. She was freaking out on me, pleading me for information. She was sending me all kinds of messages. Her and his friends were DMing me. He was DMing me. It was bad. The last message was the guy saying that I'm a total grunt because I refuse to tell the truth and I just destroyed his life. I immediately messaged both him and his wife explaining what happened. I even sent them timestamp pictures of me on vacation. Apparently, this guy is a serial cheater, and when I exposed our affair, another woman exposed her affair with the husband to the wife because the affair partner was jealous that he had yet another side chick. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, because not only were there multiple affairs, but because he humiliated his wife with how public it was, especially with it being a neighborhood Facebook group. So that's my accidental pro-revenge. OP, you sound like you're sad about it, but I have no idea why. This guy is a douchebag who harasses random women online for no reason, and he's a cheater who got caught, so screw him. I just hope also that this is the guy who was setting off the fireworks, because if it was, that would be very poetic. Our next Reddit post is from Nasentia. So around Thanksgiving 2017, my wife's company offered her a fantastic promotion, which she accepted, even though it meant moving across the state by January 1st. The month of December was insanity. We had to list and sell the house, find a short-term rental that would accept 4 pets, pack, move, etc. I had to drink a lot of whiskey to get through it, but I got it all done, and we moved into our rental house, and all was well. We then bought our new home, moved, and the rental lease officially ended on April 1st. The property manager followed all the state laws correctly, so far, and we were told we'd get the $1,800 owed for our security deposit back by May. Spoiler alert, it never came. I spent the next 4 months going back and forth with the property manager, hearing, "It's coming, we never got your paperwork, blah blah blah." I got sick of this and got 2 different lawyers involved and sent them official demand letters. I also filed a formal complaint with the state's Division of Real Estate against their license. The property manager kept telling the state investigators that they would pay us back, but nothing ever happened. I didn't want to formally sue them with a lawyer because our lawyer charges $300 an hour and it's all up front. I was hesitant to go to small claims court because it's a $5,000 max in our state, and the damages we legally were owed were 3 times the $1,800 deposit, which puts us over that cap. So if I did that, I'd have to give up on some of the damages that we were legally entitled to seek, lose roughly $500 in fees, and then go through that whole process for the next year. And assuming we won the judgment, then go through the collection process for another year or two. I know that if we went that way, we'd win, but it would be a big pain in my butt. So this is where the pro-revenge comes in. So let's say their website is stupidpropertymanager.com. I bought stupidpropertymanager.co for $12, and I posted all of my screenshots and info about their theft and BS for the world to see. Then I bombed my website all over their business Facebook pages, as well as the personal pages for the main partners and their Yelp page. I got a kick out of it, they took the links down, and petty revenge wins, right? Well, my little website caused a bigger boom than I anticipated. Basically, this property manager has 2 principal agents in charge and 1 broker. One of the agents is married to the broker. Beneath them, they have, or rather had, 5 realtors. I sent my new website to all of them, everywhere I could. Turns out, the partner who isn't married to the broker had no idea that the broker and his wife were stealing money from the company. The realtors had no idea either, and 2 of them quit immediately. One of them even reached out to me to let me know why she quit and that she was going to a new broker. But the other principal owner of the company was mortified. She asked me to leave her name out of it, take the stuff down, etc. And I just politely but coldly replied that, hey, your business partner / broker stole my money and I can back everything I'm saying with documents, so it's not my problem. She promised she'd get things resolved, and for the first time in 10 months, the broker started answering my emails. We worked out a deal, and they're now paying me $200 a month until December, which will cover the amount owed, plus the extra for our legal fees. The first check came in last week, and it actually bounced. So I made them send me a cashier's check, and they have to send a cashier's check going forward, so we did get our first installment. I've also learned that the state investigation has been turned over to the state's legal department, and the broker and his wife will likely lose their license. The state investigator said they had multiple complaints against them, but my complaint was the most thorough and had the most documentation against them. So my complaint was a big reason they had the ammo to push this to the legal team. So all told, my stupid little website ended up costing them 40% of their real estate team. It resulted in them removing their business from Facebook listings, it put their business under investigation by the state legal team, and it resulted in them having to finally start paying us back not only the $18 we were owed, but also all the legal fees I spent on top of it. Oh, and that check that bounced, I made them send me a certified check for $12 to cover the bank fee for that, too. That was r/pro-revenge, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.